So what game are we jumping into? It is, of course, our friend Faustino Oro, who's sitting in the neighboring room, 12-year-old, the Messi of chess, who, just like Messi, has moved from Argentina to Barcelona in pursuit of becoming the best.
And we do see Faustino talking. He's very chill. Although he is called the Messi of chess, he's definitely not got a Messi type of chess style. He's got a quite classical, clean style of chess, I would say. There's a lot of logic behind his moves. He shows such a deep understanding despite his tender years. Here, he's played the Spanish opening, the Roy Lopez. He brought his bishop out very, very early to put pressure here and pin the black knight on this diagonal. And against the Berlin defense, he's just playing it cool, calm, slow. He's going to get castled at some point. He's going to bring his knight out. Maybe at some point he might even pin the other knight. And yeah, a bit of a slow start, I would say, on the clock, but a position that he's definitely seen before and studied.
And he is playing against Deepak from Scotland, it looks like. And so he is the favorite, Faustino. And in these first rounds, you can see a lot of interesting matchups. So it's important to get a good start if you want to play against the very best, which I'm sure Faustino is very eager to do here while sitting door to door with Magnus.
Exactly. And they actually played for the first time over the board. They played countless times online, Bullet Blitz, but they've played first time over the board here in the Take office today.
Ooh.
No spoilers as to what the result was, but there will be a video on the Take YouTube channel in the very near future. And it looks like Faustino has found himself facing an equally young opponent in round one here, Deepak from Scotland, both with very high ratings. Faustino, 3,100 on chess.com. That is incredible. I've been trying my whole life for that rating, and he's got it at the age of 12. Meanwhile, Deepak, CM, already almost 2,600. That's impressive too.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things about chess, that people that are 12 years old can be better than somebody who has spent all their life trying to be good at this sport, and that they can compete alongside each other. And yeah, that's a really unique thing. And here that we have these really young players who get to play against the top in the world is also a very unique situation.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's frustrating as if you're older and playing these kids, but of course a joy to behold watching them in action. In the meantime, Faustino attacks the black bishop. There's a big question now. I was going to say the black knight on the edge of the board could take a piece, and now Faustino is pausing because either he can bring his own knight forward and recapture, which looks very nice, very safe and healthy, or he could try to conquer all of the light squares by taking this bishop off the board. We would then see a trade of knights, and it would be a light squared versus dark squared, kind of odd-looking middle game with black's king maybe a bit open. So there we go. He does go for it, Faustino. According to the evaluation bar, not the best, but good enough to keep at least a very decent-looking position. Now his job is to somehow get his knight forward to the f5 square. That is the end goal for that piece. And then he might whip up a big attack. But yeah, early days here.
And it looks like Faustino, he's very familiar with streaming, because I feel like a lot of the people that have been invited here, they don't necessarily have this as their routine when they're playing. So the fact that he is here commenting everything, he can't stop talking about this position. And look at all of the facial expressions he's doing as well.
Exactly. He's really into the game now. He's getting into the zone. There is a bit of a problem for white. It's that you can't really do much about the pressure on this pawn unless you push that pawn forward. He would love to bring his rook across to a semi-open file, attack. He would love to somehow reroute this white knight, but not going anywhere. So yeah, Deepak's doing very well. We see a question from the chat at the top, Slithe, asking how close he is to a GM. It's just one last norm.
Yeah.
He's got the rating. He's got those two first norms. He needs to play an open tournament, though. So he's got 2 months to do the magic, do the job.
Yeah, if he wants the record. I mean, becoming a grandmaster, nobody doubts that that's going to happen. That's just a matter of practicalities. But the big question is, can he become the youngest grandmaster ever and take Abhimanyu Mishra's record of 12 years, 4 months, and some days? Because that's how close these things are. You have to even know the days. And Faustino's deadline to win that record is the 7th of March, which is almost my birthday.
Oh.
So that's what I want for my birthday.
Nice. That's very kind and selfless of you. Maybe we'll have multiple reasons to celebrate in a few weeks' time. But in the meantime, on the board, Faustino, he is a bit lower on the clock, 1 minute down. So although he is used to streaming, maybe speed is an issue right now. And Magnus, we hear, is in a tough position in round one. against Shevchenko. So, not an easy start for the boys in Oslo, but still plenty of time to turn things around. And yeah, it's really healthy. Like just the attitude that Faustino has. He's like, okay, I'll try for the record. If I don't get it, fine. I'll move on. And that's just a stepping stone on the path to greater things. He wants world titles. He doesn't want just records alone necessarily. So,
and I always feel like these records, like eventually somebody passes them again and again. And we're thinking like, when will it stop? How young are these people going to be when they take these different records? Faustino had the record as like the best player that was younger than 12 ever, and then he was the youngest player to cross 2300, and then later these records are stripped again and again. So it's really like this infinite chase for these records. But becoming a grandmaster, I don't doubt that he'll manage that someday.
Ooh, and things are exploding finally in the center. There was a lot of maneuvering the last 10, 15 moves, not too much going on, but suddenly the center's exploded. We see rooks staring at enemy queens, both queens under fire somewhat, therefore pinned pawns in the center of the board. The most obvious move for Faustino is probably to bring his knight forward, hit this rook. He does that. And this one is really coming to life now. And just in time for Faustino, I don't think maneuvering would have helped him with only 1.5 minutes left. Suddenly there's purpose to his position. He just needs to ensure that he's got enough time to handle the ensuing complications, maybe bringing his knight this way to put pressure on some of the black pawns. It does look like he's a bit nervous, though. We see him very tense suddenly on the camera.
I'm going to hear what he's saying.
Vale, voy a hacer esta. Me queda un minuto, así que hay que espabilar, gente. Dama de 2 y alfil por. Bueno, esto sí me quita, ¿no? Si me quita dama de 2 y alfil por es la idea.
Okay, well, I was thinking, like, let's see what language this is and let's see if we can understand anything. But what we can notice from his very rapid Spanish there is that he seems to have a lot of thoughts going on. We can see him constantly talking. He's doing a lot of calculations. But does Deepak have something genius here?
Does look very good for black. Faustino, I think the clock has affected him. He was in control. He was still covering all the bases, but now big problems. His queen is attacked there. It did run away. This is a big hole that the knight is trying to jump into. Still not easy for black. There's opposite color bishops. That could save white a bit later, but now there's threats against pawns on the other side of the board as well. Maybe this is his chance, Faustino, to push a pawn forward to try and at least create some counterplay. He drops back with his knight, shake of the head. But now it's all about the clock. Deepak has played a perfect game, like done nothing wrong. The youngster from Scotland. Can Faustino turn things around? Oh, look at the dark square domination, though. This diagonal, there's a knight jump. Faustino's trying to stir the pot, mix things up. This is where it gets really spicy. Deepak needs to hold his nerve.
And we can see that Hikaru and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, they have delivered. And the question is, will Magnus manage? And he has taken the advantage in his game as well.
Ooh, that tends to be the way. Magnus is a slow starter notoriously, but eventually things start to happen. And wow, suddenly this black bishop is almost trapped. Can he get it out? How to escape with that piece? There's no safe square to use. It's attacked twice. But there we go. Counterattack against the white bishop that was hanging. That was the only move for Deepak to keep the advantage. He found it. Faustino under 30 seconds now, shaking his head. Ooh, he takes a pawn. That is very risky. He wants to open up his rook to get in.
But he's trying to make some counterplay. He hasn't given up. He's still trying.
The white king, that is a deadly check. He has to drop back his rook and block. Now his center collapses. Everything on light squares for white, but he is the exchange down, and now Deepak's just trading off pieces. It's going to be end of the game soon. The queen is coming down with a check. Black's grabbed some pawns. Faustino has to keep fighting.
Yeah, but Deepak is only down to 45 seconds now. It's stressful when your opponent doesn't give up and keeps playing and pressuring you on the clock. And Faustino is very good at bullet play. Oh, what was that reaction?
Oh, Deepak wins. Faustino resigns. That was celebration from Deepak. Wow. Kids versus kids. And it is the player with the black pieces who comes out on top. Faustino, he's going to have to go on a winning streak now to make a dent on this week's Titled Tuesday.
And we can already see that he's like he's doing some analysis of the game already. It's like immediately when these players are done, they're like, what happened here in this game? I need to know immediately.